Hello again to another Agricolor Reacts, and today we will be watching From Seville to Warsaw, Industrial Pollution Has Fallen in the EU. Here's how, from Euronews. So let's just jump into it and just see how did that happen.
Let's follow my feelings. I would say they have increased.
Increased.
I think it's better.
Not all of you know this, but industrial emissions are falling in Europe, although they still account for around 20% of all pollutants into the air and water.
30 years ago, snow was grey or even dark because of the soot.
The European Union wants to reindustrialize and become more competitive, but also cleaner. So how to balance industry growth and a healthy environment? That's what we're going to find out. We're off to Poland.
My country!
We begin our journey in the mining region of strategic importance to the country's energy system. Here, successive tightening of environmental standards has had a tangible impact on air quality.
Elle est là, l'immense centrale de Belchatov. On a rendez-vous là-bas, on va voir ça.
We've had access to Europe's largest coal-fired power station. In the past, large quantities of noxious particles came out of the chimneys and could reach neighboring countries.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you.
Major modernization works have reduced the plant's impact.
Od początku lat 90. elektrownia ograniczyła ponad 93% emisji dwutlenku siarki, ponad 66% emisji tlenków azotu, jak również wyeliminowała, zredukowała do emisji 99% pyłów.
These works included the construction of this new huge unit, the closure or replacement of old boilers, the renovation of electrical filters, and the installation of these desulfurization systems. These investments were imperative if we are to comply with the European Industrial Emissions Directive and therefore retain the right to operate.
Na bieżąco emisje dwutlenków siarki i innych związków siarki są na poziomie 14 mg. Wszystkie te poziomy emisji są dzisiaj dużo niższe. Mamy zagwarantowane w pozwoleniu zintegrowanym.
Some combustion particles are now recycled.
I don't have to say about someone who grew up in Poland and always heard about Bełchatów and about the mining and all that. That looks really clean. Like, I don't know, it's just basically, like you thinking about coal mining and stuff and you thinking, see all the miners coming out all black and all covered in soot and dust and stuff like that, and you'll be thinking the same thing about it. The Bełchatów power plant gonna be looking exactly the same because that's what they're using. They're using coal, and this looking so clean. Like, no, that's nothing like that. Just kind of awesome.
Dioxide is now used to produce gypsum, a raw material for plaster sold to the construction industry.
It's very good for environment, and we have a lot of money when we sell this product.
So
It's circular economy as well.
Yes, there you go.
Poland still needs coal as part of its energy transition, but it plans to gradually
Jesus,
close.
I didn't realize there's so much of a, like, I don't know how to call that, just that old sandy, like it looks like a desert. Wow.
The power station and the mine over the next few years.
Wait, what he said there?
Actually close the power station and the mine over the next few years.
Decades, maybe?
The country is turning the page on coal. The
About
city of
time.
Warsaw hopes it will disappear in 2035, but the landscape has already changed.
30 years ago, we could see almost moon landscape with grey ashes, and now we see green areas surrounding us, and this is the answer. This environmental protection ideas work.
In the neighboring Zaran heat and power plant, which provides heating for the capital's residents, gas has almost entirely replaced coal. This new so-called combined cycle unit complies with European requirements in terms of best available techniques, BAT. These letters are well known to European industrialists. To operate, they must align emissions with the best technologies on the market.
From 1 megawatt of the gas, we are producing 60% of the power, electricity and district heating.
More effective than coal.
Like 2 times more.
And less emitting as well?
Definitely. We have like very minimal part of the emissions.
The company hopes biogas will soon replace gas. It's also investing in power-to-heat units, aiming at converting surplus energy from the installations into house heating.
All of these investments cost 4 billion euro. It's big money that we will be investing into the energy sector. And just to understand what Poland has ahead, we are only 9% of the district heating market.
These changes are still in the process, so we will have even more results after years of the deeper implementation of Industrial Emissions Directive.
The EU has just revised its main instrument for cutting industrial emissions. The aim is to combine the growth of industry with a reduction in its environmental impact. This is known as decoupling. To find out more, we went to Spain.
Si on est à Séville, c'est pas seulement parce que cette ville est magnifique, c'est parce que c'est ici que sont décidées les grandes normes industrielles de notre continent. On va voir ça.
Who decides what is acceptable to pollute and what is not? The answer here at the European Joint Research Centre.
This is JRC Sevilla, where we take decisions with stakeholders on the future of industry.
This building is at the heart of a collaborative and data-driven governance model known as the Sevilla process.
This is where we gather the industry of the sector in question, all member states and environmental NGOs representing civil society, together with the Commission, of course. And during 5 days, we heavily discussed facts and figures in order to have a robust consensus on the best available techniques and the environmental performance.
The JRC will soon have a brand new site.
Yeah.
It will house its new innovation center called Insight, which aim is to accelerate the reduction of emissions as well as the transition towards carbon neutrality and circular economy.
We look forward to identify the innovations that are emerging, popping, characterize their level of development, their cost, and put that on the table, making sure that industry remains competitive and in Europe.
But what could tomorrow's industry actually look like? Here's an example from Seville. This brewery is home to Europe's largest industrial solar thermal power plant. The sun heats the water used for various industrial processes.
Collecting the sunlight to the tube, we can raise the temperature to 250 degrees. We have here 2 loops. Both loops are connected within a heat exchanger. Maintaining this closed loop, we increase the efficiency in the use of water because we don't have any loss.
Every drop counts.
Every drop matters. We always think on reduce, reuse, and replace when we have to face an energy and water challenge.
A nearby photovoltaic field supplies all of the brewery's electricity consumption. These investments bring the brewery closer to its goal of using 100% renewable energy in production by the end of the year.
When the sun sets, we start using our buffer tanks, and then when we don't have additional energy coming from the sun, we start to use the biogas that previously was generated in our wastewater treatment plant.
So everything. Cool.
Decarbonization as a driver of growth. A dream or a real opportunity? I'll leave the final word to our experts.
It's not because it's difficult that we don't dare. It's because we don't dare that it's difficult. So we have to try.
So let's dare.
Let's go.
That's really cool to see that it's actually changing like that, and something is done and it's possible, and it's actually you can see it, and I can see it myself from I moved out from Poland 20 years ago, and I gotta just say that I do see the changes, a lot of changes, and here in Ireland too, obviously, although it's not as visible to me because I'm here constantly when I'm going to Poland twice a year, so the changes are a bit different, you can kind of see it a bit differently. But yeah, it's much better and much more eco-friendly, everything like that. So, and the fact that we're going into more of these green energy solutions as well, that's much better too. So, thank you very much for watching, and I see you tomorrow. Bye!